Hello everyone, my name is Philip, and welcome back to Phasing Forward. It's been a bunch of weeks, mainly because we haven't had anything in the meantime. We haven't had any new Marvel show. Black Widow got delayed to July, so we're gonna wait on that when it happens. So yeah, we're officially back, and before Loki starts, before we get to the beginning of Loki and me and Zen start covering that, we are gonna go back finally and do series reviews of both Falcon and the Winter Soldier and our topic for today, which at this point is super fucking belated because this series ended almost 3 months ago. But, you know, better late than never. It's time for our review of WandaVision. And, hey, guess who's back? Guess who's finally back? Hey Zen, how you going?
Hello everybody, I'm Zenith Warrior Princess, and I am not dead. Contrary to popular belief, I am not dead. It's been a long 2 months. The reports of my death are greatly exaggerated.
Yep.
All I will say right now is that we had some computer troubles. Kana's an eternal timeout for that. Kana.
Yeah.
Sorry.
You're forgiven.
Good segue, because joining us for WandaVision here today, it is Miss Nightmare Reviews, otherwise known as Casey. How are you going, Casey?
Hey everyone, I'm so happy to be back and talk about one of my favorite Disney Plus shows so far, so I'm excited.
It feels good to be recording another Phasing Forward episode. It's been a good few weeks. Me and Michelle, I think, did a really fun... Well, I had really a lot of fun with Michelle on Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So much fun that we're going to be maybe starting our own podcast. But with that being said, I started Phasing Forward with, in my mind, wanting to do it with me and Zen. So it's just a ton of... It's just
I have one thing to say about that. First of all, Chiaki betray me, Kana betray me, everyone betray me. I fed up with this world. Why you could not wait for computer, and all I wanted was to make a nice show, and you just go on without me.
Well, if we just wait for the show to end, then there's no point in doing episodic reviews of it.
Yeah, trust me. I tried doing that with a couple seasons of Sci-Fi's Face Off. It didn't work out well.
Yeah.
Do you even know life?
Possibly.
But it is good to have Zen back for this, and spoiler alert.
It's really good to be back. It's really good to be back. I'm happy to be back. I'm upset that I wasn't part of Falcon, but I'll be on the next one.
Yep.
Whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah,
we're talking about Wanda.
Yep, Zen will be in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series review. That'll mostly be you, Zen, because I want you to have your say on that series. And then for Loki,
it'll just be 3 hours of me saying, "This was good. I cried. This was good. I cried again. I cried 15 times. Oh my god."
God, that series is so good, and so is this one. And then just a little bit spoiler alert, or I guess not spoiler, but like, for Loki, I am planning on keeping it just me and Zen. For What If, because What If is an anthology series, I am thinking that maybe for that we can bring in a bunch of people for that, because I think it would just make sense since it's not serialized, it's just an episodic anthology series. But for Loki, it's just gonna be me and Zen. Want to keep it simple for now. I say as I'm having a 3-person crew for both this and the Falcon series review, but let's put that to one side.
Yes.
Yeah, I also want to mention that, and this is a big thing for these, not just this video, but also all the series reviews going forward, if we don't address a very specific plot point, or multiple very specific plot points, watch our episodic reviews. These are not meant to be like, we cover every single plot point, because there's a reason why we did do, episodic reviews. So, this is just going to be a general review of what we thought of the series, bringing up the most, pressing points that we want to talk about, and bringing up, essentially we don't want these to go for 5 hours. We want to keep these you know, at maximum 2 hours. You know, we want to keep them. We want to make sure that they don't go over, you know, 2 hours and just have like a fucking multi-hour.
Because I have to sleep. I have to sleep sometime.
She also does
And,
have to
like,
sleep.
you
Yeah.
Yeah. And I have laundry to do. It's not like I've done a long one. I'm sorry.
To make up for it for the Falcon series review, I'm the one who's doing it super late. I'm doing that at like midnight.
But what I will say is that I think the difference in doing these reviews after the fact is that a lot of the individual episode reviews are very speculative.
Yeah.
I threw out many theories, many that were wrong. Yes, I will admit many were wrong, but there were some I was right about. But what we're reviewing here is more our takeaway from it.
And then there was one theory that you were right about in a vacuum and then wrong about in every other way.
Listen, okay? I wanted it to be a thing.
I know.
It wasn't a thing. I got over it.
Mm-hmm.
The audience did not. So in that regard, I'm better than some of the fans.
Legitimately you are. I'm not going to actually deny that.
I mean, are we talking about the reveal of
Oh yeah, before you say anything, Casey, yes, this is going to be completely 100% spoiler. It's going to be 100% spoiler heavy. So we're just jumping straight into spoilers. If you don't want to know spoilers for this series, get out of here. This isn't the series for you, okay? You know, yeah. So if
I was gonna say that means that you're mad about the boner joke.
Lol. But yeah. If you wanna like, guys, if you wanna like, and I also super appreciate it if you're watching the series for the first time. You know, if you'd like, then you could also watch along with the episodic reviews we did. I think that'd be a fun thing to do. I don't know. I haven't personally done it myself. I say that, but then I was also, you know, making them as this show was coming out. Anyway, but you know. So essentially, this is going to be completely 100% spoiler heavy. Leave now if you don't want to be spoiled on the series. And it's a good fucking show. We all love it. All three of us love it. So go watch, then come back. But yeah, that fucking Quicksilver revealed. Jesus Christ.
Like, I am actually one of the few fans that weren't upset about it, especially for Evan
I think
Peters.
all three of us were.
Yeah, like, he actually was okay with it, enjoyed the role in WandaVision. It was more of a big, multiverse theory, and then it was revealed, no, it was just, Agatha all along, controlling a random guy.
Thank God it wasn't fucking X-Men from the X-Men universe coming into here, because honestly, just, like, give us a new X-Men team. I don't want the old X-Men team, like, you know, especially, putting aside the fact...
Don't you realize... It was Mephisto from Falcon and the Winter Soldier. You see, Mephisto was the fly on the wall, who then gave Falcon the wings, and then they're leading us to an eventual Mephisto. Everything is Mephisto. Don't you understand?
No.
Yeah, I'll say this. I will say this. There was a lot of outrage with, you know, stuff that didn't end up coming true in the finale. The only one that I see and that I get, even though I don't agree with it, the only one I see and get is the Quicksilver reveal. But for everything else, you people really need to get over yourselves. You need to stop fucking being upset when your Reed Richards or Mephisto or multiverse theories don't come to fruition, okay? Like,
yeah, especially because, like, when that the actual help happened, you kind of realize, oh, this could be the Skrull girl that Monica actually became friends with when in Captain Marvel. That could be her disguise. Like, it makes more logical sense, especially when the like soldier said that Sword agent says that they basically have hinted that they actually feel grateful for their for like Captain Marvel. So yeah, it's basically like Skrulls.
Mm-hmm.
We already know the Skrulls are here, and cannot wait for that Disney Plus show when it comes. That's gonna be fun, especially when they're established to be good guys.
Yeah, they're gonna have to change that up so fucking much. It's gonna like, you know, yeah, it's gonna be different. It's for sure gonna be different. I can't wait to actually see how they incorporate that. That's coming out in 2022, so yeah, we're gonna get it next year. We'll see how it turns out. That coincides, I think, with the Marvels. You know, I think that yeah, I think that those are coming out like very close to one another.
Like, I was very happy with how the show not only handled Wanda and, well, I'll say WandaVision because this is the part of the Mind Stone power that Wanda got. It made this a fake vision, but I loved how well this series was to... It was not even supposed to be the first to come out for Phase 4 originally.
No, it really wasn't.
It was supposed to be Black Widow. That was supposed to be Phase 4. And
even then, the first Disney Plus show was supposed to be Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So I think either could have worked, but I think WandaVision being the first was actually a big advantage.
Oh yeah, WandaVision is so much better than the first one.
The thing I like about it, and I think the thing that really, really works about it as a whole, is that this show feeds into speculation. The first few episodes, you really don't know what's going on. I feel like if they had started with Falcon, it would be great, but we still wouldn't have gotten the big hype that WandaVision generated because everyone started making theories and all this big stuff. Now, I don't agree with theory culture. The fact that your theories need to be 100% right and everyone's upset that their theory didn't work. But I like speculation. I like being able to talk to friends about current things that's happening, and I think that's the advantage that Disney Plus has over other services like Netflix. You don't get a lot of this theory discussion with a lot of Netflix stuff because you're just watching it binge after binge after binge, and I'm just like, no, I love that week-to-week interaction. Like, did you see this? Let's talk about it. Let's tweet about it. Let's interact. And I don't think you would have gotten that as much if Falcon was first. But now that Falcon was second, we have all that week-to-week about Falcon, and it's building something more. It's an interactive, ongoing show, and I think that's what the MCU needs to be.
Yeah, I honestly, like, I've mentioned this before. I've talked about it on Twitter in previous episodes, but I'm so grateful that Disney Plus does weekly episodes. Like, if you're, like, and again, people complain about it, but at the same time, it's just like, that's Netflix, I think, just ruining people's ability to watch a week-to-week show. I'm honestly loving it. I think, you know, we're getting more MCU at, you know, more, for more portions, like for bigger portions of the year, just because of it. It's making them like just way more digestible, and because of their length, it's not as tiring to watch them as, say, the Netflix MCU shows, which may or may not be canon now. I think of all the non-Disney Plus shows that are connected to the MCU, the Netflix stuff may be the only things that, aside from Agent Carter, that get brought into the canon. Just because, not for any other reason other than just people liked the Netflix stuff, as opposed to, like, you know, Runaways and Cloak and Dagger, I've heard good things about, but, like, no one ever watched them. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just kind of went off the deep end. And then Inhumans is definitely going to get a retcon, because no one liked that shit.
From what I hear, though, a lot of people like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. more than some of the Arrowverse, and I get conflicting reports about this. Some people say, oh, stick with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to get really good, really, really good, and then there are people watching Damn It, Barry on the CW who love it, and then some who just, like, damn it, Barry, why you keep doing this?
It's a bumpy ride from everything I've heard. Like, there definitely seems to be, like, high seasons and then absolute low seasons. But I just think with everything that's, you know, I just feel like with all the influence from Perlmutter that, like, you know, that plagued those shows, I feel like Kevin Feige just wants to go, all right, reset and just, you know, and just start over with a lot of those characters. But again, with the Netflix cast, I think they may just be bringing those characters into the Disney Plus shows or the movies and just using them as supporting characters, which I'd be all for. Like, I'd be all for, like, say, the Heroes for Hire being in, like, a subsection of the MCU, just doing their own thing. That'd be nice.
Yeah.
But I think kind of getting into WandaVision, I think the way we'll break WandaVision up is that, WandaVision specifically, because it has this kind of 3-act structure to it, I feel like the best way to break it up is first 3 episodes, middle 3 episodes, last 3 episodes. Because I feel like there's a clear-cut structure there, where the first 3 is like the most pure to the sitcom roots, but slowly but surely you start to get more of like, wait, what the hell's going on? Why, like why are things like breaking apart? With Act 2, you get the revelation that, oh, you know, this is a made-up town, what the hell's going on here? And it seems like Wanda's controlling it. And then in the final act, you get basically all the answers revealed, and the reveal of Agatha and yada yada. So let's go act by act. So the first 3 episodes are still fucking hilarious. I rewatched the series with my family a few weeks ago at this point. You know, I overestimated when we'd actually be I underestimated when we'd actually be recording this, so I actually rewatched the series a number of weeks ago, but the first 3 episodes still fucking hilarious. I love them. They're on the lower end of my episode rankings, but then again, I honestly don't think there's any bad episodes of this show. I think all of them just knock it out of the park, and like these ones still get a humongous chuckle out of me. What about you guys, Sen?
Well, sorry.
Personally, I think the thing that works about these is that you're really not sure what you're in for. And while I still think episode 1 is the weakest because I'm not really big into that era of comedy, it's still a fun watch. And as it goes on, you get more and more questions. You build up, okay, what's going on? Speculate. What's up with the dude from the sewer? Is this AIM? They had a lot of really good red herrings in the series. And this first third set up a lot. And I know a lot of people were saying that episode 4 kind of answered every question.
But it didn't.
But it didn't. It's another part of that red herring. And I think a good job that this first set of episodes does really well. Set up everything. Give us red herrings. Give us a general idea of this is kind of what's going on. But lead us in, like, hook us into this world. And I adore what they did with a lot of sitcoms. I think it's funny. I think it's fun. I think a lot of the openings are great. And I think it does a great job of lampooning and parroting the early sitcoms from a point of love while still having a lot more to do with these characters.
Yeah, and I think that point of love, like taking them from a point of love, I don't think it's necessarily too much of a satire or parody, more than it just being the thing. But I also think that works a lot because, you know, from what we find out later, you know, Wanda was, you know, she loved sitcoms, and, you know, she basically wanted to lose her, like, the reason why she based everything around a sitcom is because she wanted to lose herself in that perfect life. So it being just not so much a parody, but more just it being the thing, I think works really well because it fits with Wanda's story in that regard. Just to get this out of the way right now, because I'm going to forget later, what was your favorite openings for both of you, Casey and Zen?
Well, Casey hasn't had a chance to say anything.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna segue from that into Casey's thoughts on Act 1, but if you want to like answer the opening thing first.
Well, for the opening, for the first 3 episodes,
Or just overall, just generally overall.
Overall? Even though I really like the Agatha All Along one, I really do. But I think I like the very classic, like 1950s, from the very first episode. It's very sweet, it's very charming, and it's just like, I know that like the whole like first episode is just a big, huge like inspiration of the Dick Van Dyke Show completely, and there's like so much going on with that first episode. Like unlike Zen, I actually like the first episode. It kind of gives like, okay, it's a sitcom. Wait, no, something's wrong with this world. Oh dear, something is wrong. But like that's what I liked about the first 3 episodes. Like it makes it feel like, oh, it's a sitcom. So it's very nice and sweet. Wait, there's something very wrong underneath all the surface. I love the build up in those first 3 episodes. They work so well, and the theme songs. Oh my! It's weird that the theme songs are written by the same people who did Frozen. But I love those. Here's the thing: I love these all these different WandaVision songs more than Frozen. So.
I can't wait for some comments about that.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to decide because, like, I love the Bewitched one because I grew up with Bewitched, but I like the 70s a lot because of the aesthetic, but Agatha All Along is really good. There's so many really interesting ones, and it's very hard to choose. As it goes on, I think they get better, but I admire the differences in all of them because all of them have something that I enjoy.
I think my favorite,
something unique.
I think my favorite's the 90s one, the Malcolm in the Middle inspired one. I think just because like I grew up with a lot of like not Malcolm in the Middle specifically. I didn't watch that till years and years and years later. Till at least I was a teenager. But you know, I grew up with a bunch of like 90s-esque shows, so I was that was like. That kind of hit me. I was like, I really did like that opening. I think it's, of all of them, it's probably my favorite.
I love. Have you either of you seen like the behind the scenes of WandaVision special that's on Disney Plus?
I did. I haven't seen the Falcon and Winter Soldier one yet. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to see it before we do that review, but I have seen the WandaVision one.
But I love how in the behind the scenes of the WandaVision theme songs, when they got to the 90s, both the songwriters are like, we were in college during that time, so we had to really research about the 90s songs. I'm like, oh wow, that is something to hear. And I hear that, and I'm like, I was a child when they were in college.
I wasn't even born yet.
You're a child!
Hey, I turned 21 in like a few weeks.
You are a child.
You're still... You're a grumpy little child. You know it. Just like Kana is my little child. Speaking of Kana, she's sitting right here. Hi, Kana. Hi, other Kana.
Lol. Double Kana.
Double Kana. Oh no!
But did you have anything else? Did you have anything else you wanted to say about the first act, Casey?
I think the one thing I do find it neat is, I love how in the behind the scenes stuff. I find it so funny that in the black and white scenes, they cannot paint Paul Bettany his signature maroon because it would not pick up. So they had to paint him blue, and I love that those
they had to paint him blue. I found that really funny.
I find it so funny. I look at that, I'm like, I now want to go into Photoshop, and I want to take Vision, and I want to put him over as blue. Like, oh, but I also love, like, there's like, this is a wonderful series that does well too as a great like tribute to sitcoms. It's not a parody, it's a nice tribute. Like the first 3 episodes really capture that very well, minus the mystery of it all. And like, oh, there's also so many nods to like Marvel comic references, including like the Wanda and Vision in the pose of one of the comic book covers in the 3rd episode.
Yeah.
That was, like, it was so sweet. That's so neat. But also, it's just like, I can only imagine how much research the actual behind the scenes had to go for all of like the filming techniques they needed to do for like WandaVision. Like the best
I really have to. I really have to give them kudos because they actually used cameras from the time period. They used the techniques. They used cameras from the 90s. They used they used
the effects.
It astounds me that they were able to get it looking like it is because I was watching Linkar's episode on the sequels to Manos: The Hands of Fate, and he was talking about how the sequels were not shot on the same type of camera. They were filmed on digital camera, and you still don't get the same effect. And it really, the lengths that they went to make this authentic while still looking really good in HD on an HD TV, very big kudos.
Yeah, and it's not just like one era they had to do this with. They had to do this with like fucking like every goddamn era of sitcoms. And it's like, you know, and it's not like you can't make, you know, like stuff from back then like look good like with those cameras, because like after all we have like, you know, pixel clear restorations of Doctor Who for a reason. But it's also like, you know, I think just the lengths they went through, not just with to use like the old cameras and not just like, you know, get a live studio audience, but like just and not just like from the writing perspective, but also just, you know, from the camera angles and like you know, the actual effects themselves, how they like, you know, purposely use crappy effects to that like to that extent. It's like, I love it. I honest to God love it, especially as a sitcom fan. I know for a lot of people, they're not sitcom fans, so they might just, you know, groan throughout the entire show. I'm a tremendously big sitcom fan. I'm not
a fan of sitcoms, I think even if you're not a fan of sitcoms, this has a lot for you, because it's confusing the first couple episodes, and you're just like, okay, what was going on? I still think that mystery is enticing. Even if you're not a fan of sitcoms, you can still see the dark veneer, and I think people would still enjoy that.
Yeah, and like, let's put it like this: I'm one of those assholes who will say, "What are you guys talking about? The laugh tracks aren't that distracting. What do you mean?" You know, when it comes to like shows with a live studio audience,
then there's DuckTales, who made the laugh track in audience into nightmarish hellbeats.
No spoilers. I haven't got to season 3 yet.
I haven't either. I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
I know what you're I think I know what episode Zen's referring to, but I haven't seen it myself.
I have not.
All I will say, because I'm not even like, that's not even really a spoiler. All I will say is, laugh tracks were never good, and they should be destroyed. Especially shows that use them for every single joke. Big Bang Theory.
Big Bang Theory doesn't use it for every single joke. You haven't even seen the series.
Even then, we don't talk about Big Bang Theory. But
I talk about it. I love that show.
But I actually do like with the audience when we get to like the second to last episode of and get to the 50 sitcom set, and the pants from current Wanda to the actual set, and then to seeing Agatha in the actual audience chairs clapping, and I'm just looking at that, I'm like, oh, I love that we get to see that like behind the scenes aspect reached out, and it's just so creative, and I love when shows get to do that. I think the most notorious for that, doing something like that, is like the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with Carlton running through all the sets and into the audience. That is like one of the most memorable parts from. I love
that one joke from Fresh Prince where it's like, if we're so rich, how come we don't have a ceiling? And it pans up the studio lights.
Yeah, that one too. Like, oh, but this, like, as we're talking like the first 3 episodes, they have so much suspense, and also like, it's just incredible how much they were able to do with this series, and especially when they had to continue filming after as COVID was going on, because we were filming and then they had to shut it down, and then they had to film it back up with COVID regulations. Like, this was one of the with Falcon the Winter Soldier, the first 2 shows that actually worked during COVID times.
I think this was because I remember them saying that that filming had wrapped before COVID, which wasn't true. But I think what they meant was that all the sitcom stuff had been wrapped before COVID, and then all the stuff post COVID, or like during COVID, I should say, was the last few episodes and like story related stuff. So yeah, it was. I think I think I heard a report saying that Monica's role was unfortunately kind of reduced because of that, which does suck. But for what it's worth, I do think that they did her justice in the last two episodes anyway. But yeah, as far as the first act is concerned, I just love it. I think that it sets the story up, very well. I think, episodically it works very well. How we get the first 3 eras of sitcoms, 50s, 60s, 70s, and each one of them plays to their strengths. Each one of them has their own little intricacies that tie them to actual sitcoms that from the eras. But then we have some just tremendous little red herrings, like Darcy's hand at the end of episode 1, guy in the beekeeper suit.
I think he's dead now. Yeah, he was.
I think he's dead. She just rewinds him out of existence.
Yeah, I think that's what happened. I think she just rewind him out of existence, and we never, because he's never mentioned. Yeah, he's dead.
He's fucking dead.
He's fucking
Man's
dead. But then again, it's not the first time Wanda has a body count.
That's true.
I made myself sad now.
But then we have then we jump into the second act of WandaVision, which is the middle portion of the episodes, which most people seem to agree is the strongest portion of the show. And I both agree and slightly disagree, because my favorite episode is actually in the last act, but I will admit that this is a very, very strong portion of the show. What do you think, Zen?
I both agree and disagree. I think this is a very strong string of episodes, and some of my favorites are in here. I love what they do with it. I love episode 4. I love how they just jump us right out of the sitcom. I love how they build and they keep going back and forth, and they do a lot of great things with it. But the second half is really good too. And not the second half, the third portion of the show has some of my favorite episodes too. And it's just one of those things where I think it's all very good. I think it slowly gets better and better. It's just that a lot of the stuff in the final portion is resolution, and it's setting up other things or whatnot. The thing I like about this group of episodes is it really showcases how they can solve some of the mystery while still keeping the red herrings going throughout, and still having the characters speculate and question. And there are portions of this show that really do a fantastic job of utilizing these characters, still having that sitcom, but having them question and figure stuff out, and seeing Vision slowly peel away the veneer of the town is so good. It's just there's a lot of really cool ideas, and it definitely hints at Agatha, but it does a strong swerve that makes you think it's not Agatha, and there's some really cool red herrings and ideas here.
Yeah, and a lot of people I also find have said that they break away too much from the sitcom come the latter half of the show, and I'm like, well, yeah, I hope it would, because at that point it's as much as I'm enjoying the sitcom portion, I also want to see more of the actual story, because now that they've shown okay, something's going wrong with episode 4 of the series, I think that the way they weave together the main story and the sitcom with episodes 5, 6, and 7, I think it worked pretty damn well. So I'm glad they ended up taking that approach. But before I go into my thoughts, Casey, what do you think?
It's episodes 4, 5, and 6, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember. I don't think in my head. It's been a while. I can't remember the numbers. For how they to actually start with episode 4 going as almost a prologue, going for the first 3 episodes, and just explain the story. For some people, like my parents, specifically my dad, when he was watching the first 3 episodes, he had no clue what was going on, and he first wasn't liking it. And then I watched episode 4 before them, and I told my mom, no, Mom, he will like episode 4 because it's actually going to explain everything, mostly everything. And luckily enough, when he did watch it, he finally understood and actually started to enjoy WandaVision a lot more. And
Yeah, it's something you gotta stick to like the midway point at least.
yeah, but with
Yeah.
but with this act, it's when we get to see Wanda's kids grow. We get to see the 80s and the 90s. The Halloween episode is just, oh, I love it, but it's also like, oh, so much like weird, creepy imagery going on, especially when Wanda's control is like off to the point where like everybody's frozen and they cannot move and other stuff, and that's just so downright just creepy. And seeing like something off with Monica, something, Hayward is an asshole. But also we
Yeah.
get Jimmy. Also, I honestly have not seen Ant-Man and the Wasp. I still haven't.
Oof.
But when I saw Jimmy Woo appear on the screen in his car trick, I'm like, I don't know who you are, but you are actually very cool. And everyone's like, oh, he's from Ant-Man and the Wasp. I'm like, cool. Wait.
He spent all these years finally learning the card trick from the first two movies.
How'd you do it? How'd you do it, Scott? What? The card trick. How'd you do it? I love. I still love Ant-Man and the Wasp. It's unfortunately one I can't put higher on my list, especially because I don't like how they just magic away Ghost's problem by the end of the movie. But it is one that I really, really like. I can't wait for Quantumania. But
Go ahead.
One thing I really want to say about this batch of episodes is I really like how over the course of these few episodes, a lot of it is Vision finding something, and in episode 5 he confronts Wanda, but then he gets interrupted because Pietro's arriving. And Halloween Spooktacular's probably one of the best episodes of the entire series because we get so much going on, and we get to see like the people like just slowly moving back and forth and all of this stuff, and it's legitimately scary while being funny at the same time. Like,
yeah,
it does a great job setting up there's something wrong going on, Vision gonna find out, and but it does this really fine line of comedy with being really real and dark without being gritty.
Yeah, like this. It's just amazing how well they put into details for like this show, for those like the episodes. Plus, also we get to see Wanda's kids grow in the classic sitcom fashion of magic.
Lol.
Hex magic, and also all of a sudden, bam! They get their own powers, and that's similar to both Wanda's own powers and also her brothers, and I thought that was very neat.
And they're totally not dead. They're not killing fucking characters who are going to be coming back to Young Avengers, and they made that abundantly clear with the post-credit scene where Wanda's now going to go look for her children.
Not to mention that the actors of the kids were spotted in London filming for Doctor Strange Universe of Madness. So yeah, the kids are going to be returning in Doctor Strange too. Mm-hmm. So that's gonna be fun to see Wanda.
Then again, I don't trust rumors like that, because there have been cases where it's like X actor was spotted filming for this, and then it turns out they're not in the movie. But so I'm always skeptical in regards to that.
Don't you understand? The next Quick Bunny is going to be in season 2.
No. I think the one thing also I enjoyed with this is Darcy has character growth. Like when she was in the first Fourth Realm, she was just an intern, and now we see her. She probably was part of the Snap. We honestly have no clue. But at this point, when she finally returns, she is a doctor in her field that knows what she's doing and killing it. And I'm like, Darcy, thank you. You have proved so much throughout the franchise of Marvel so far.
It's good to see Darcy with an act. It's good to see it's good to see that Darcy is actually, or that more so that Kat Dennings is given a script that allows her to be a good character, because a lot of people give her shit in Thor: The Dark World, But let's be honest here, that wasn't her fault, because everyone but Loki sucked in Thor: The Dark World. So, like, it's not something I can really put on her. Because in the first Thor, I'd actually say she was pretty funny. And she's also really funny here. So it's not so much, you know, that she's inherently an annoying character. It's more so that, you know, Thor 2 just sucks. But in this case, I really did like Darcy. Darcy was a really fun addition to the cast. I like how, for supporting characters like this, instead of just creating new ones, they're like, well, okay, you know, we need just some supporting characters to kind of move information along. So who can we really bring in here? Oh, I know. How about, like, bring Darcy back? Bring Jimmy Woo back? You know, that would fit in this, in these situations. So, yeah, I really like that aspect.
Not to mention Monica Rambeau, who the last time we saw her in the Marvel Universe, she was just a child that saw Captain Marvel, Carol, go up with the Skrulls, and she has not seen her since. And when we do see Monica in the 4th episode, she has been snapped back in a hospital room, where when she comes back, she learns that her mother, who had cancer, is now dead after a couple years. And I just hear that, I'm like, oh shit. Oh,
I can't believe they killed Carol's wife. How dare they?
But
Bury your gaze.
also, it makes more sense in Carol's 5-year time skip of why all of a sudden she has her comic accurate haircut, and then people are all like, she probably might have shaved her head in honor of her friend.
Maybe. I think that's right now that's more so in theory, but like in theory territory. But like that's a good that could be a good explanation as to why she has a haircut. But you know, it's. I mean, either way, I think Brie Larson rocks that haircut, so I'm not complaining.
Same.
But I think you know, jokes aside, I think killing Maria was. I understand it for Monica's character, but at the same time, it's also like I saw a video from Comics Drake, who's a fantastic YouTuber. You should go check him out, and he made up a good point how in the comics, like, you know, Monica kind of stuck out from the crowd in that both her parents were alive. And both her parents, you know, were just so supportive of her being a superhero, and it, like, you know, led to one of like the more wholesome relationships in Marvel Comics at the time. So it is kind of a missed opportunity to have Maria be dead, but at the same time, it does, you know, it does, like, you know, give Monica a purpose for being in this story, since she now has experienced that loss that Wanda has, and that serves as a good link to both serves as a good link for her story to Wanda's. So it's a double-edged sword. On the one hand, it's a missed opportunity. On the other hand, it definitely does like, you know, it does justify
double-edged sword.
Oh, shut up. It's
well, the thing is, the one thing neat is that we kind of do learn that Maria became the founder of Sword, which is still freaking cool. And yes, it does suck that she died, but given the fact that her nickname was Photon and Monica is Photon in the comics, we are definitely going to be seeing Photon fully when the Marvels come out next year. Like, but for Monica,
or Spectrum, who knows what name they're going to go for her.
I'm okay. Well, get the fact that when she comes out from the little hex bubble, her own physiology has been changed, but Hayward keeps it secret because, again, Hayward is an asshole. He's an asshole. So much of an asshole. I hate this guy more than anything. He's like on the same level as my hatred of Professor Umbridge.
And I'm going to talk about Hayward a little more later, because there's something I want to say about him. But yeah, dickhead. Yeah.
But for how they handled, like, 4, 5, and 6, like, oh, they are interesting. And I'm trying to remember, like, episode 6 is definitely the one where it's basically the Modern Family-esque style episode. with Wanda basically having like her own like mental breakdown, like a normal sitcom mental breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
She's basically her on the couch as Agatha comes in. She's
That's
just
episode 7. That's episode 7.
Okay, I'm getting a little ahead. Sorry.
But actually, I think it is. I think we've all given our general thoughts of the mid portion of the show. I love it. I think this mid portion is really well in terms of like setting up the story. I think. I think like episode 5 in particular is one of my favorites. That and episode 8 are my 2 favorite episodes of the show. Episode 5 because I think it's a just great balance of every aspect of the show. It's a good balance of the sitcom portion. It's a great balance of the actual main story. Seeing Wanda come out of the Hex for the first time. The fucking Quicksilver reveal at the very end. It's a good ramping up. Like just when you think you know everything about the plot, they throw a wrench in the mix with Pietro coming in at the end that just makes you question everything and go like, okay, what the hell is actually going on here? It's a good ramping up of information, and we needed episode 4 because a lot of people are like, oh, well, you should have just, left it be the sitcom stuff till like the last few episodes. And it's like, no, you shouldn't have, because then that would make for like an aggravating show to watch. It's like, you need to reveal some information earlier on so that you can have a gradual flow of like stuff that the characters are finding out. You can't just drop everything in the last few episodes and not have that stuff be explained, because it's like you need to tell like an actual story out of this, not just sitcom. Okay, now let's do like all the plot stuff. It was a good balance. And that's why episode 5 in particular is one of my favorites. Episode 6 is also really good. It's probably on the lower end of my ranking, if only because I don't think much happens there. But, what can you do? And then we get to the final act.
Not much happens? Are you kidding? That's the episode where we find out, like, Vision goes around seeing the entire town. And then we see the
not much happens to progress the plot. Like the only thing that really happens at the end is Vision tries to leave the Hex, and then so it's at the very end stuff starts to move along again.
What about the Pietro corpse thing? That there's a lot of like little things, and
it's little things, but it's character parts. It's not bad. I should clarify. It's not bad. Like it's. I definitely think that it's more of a character-focused episode with Vision going out to explore the town and Wanda and Pietro. I think after the big confrontation at the end of episode 5, it was needed to have more of like a more intimate, slower character episode with episode 6. So it's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I'm just
yeah.
Well, not to mention with the
I'm just saying like this is like a really good batch of episodes, and
it is.
Mm-hmm.
It kept you thinking. It kept you like wondering what was going on. The Pietro thing at the end of episode 5, I'm like, okay, what? What the fuck? What?
Yeah, it was so interesting. But with episode 6, how the end it where we see Vision falling apart, and we all think, oh, it's gonna be Vision's corpse. But I'm looking like, I'm not seeing his corpse at all. Like,
I do like, yeah, I do like that is a good like. That's something else that like throws a wrench into the mix, because we saw Vision's corpse in episode 4, and
it's like Wanda breaking down a bit.
Yeah, like we basically saw like Vision's corpse in episode 4 and her seeing it, and we thought from that like, oh, okay, so she's using his corpse literally to bring him back from the dead. But then come episode 6, you see him and he's just fading out of nothingness. And it's like, okay, well, wait a minute, what's going on? It's a really good red herring to show, oh, she never actually took Vision's body, Vision was with Hayward all along. This is coming from the Mind Stone. So that was a really good red herring.
Fuck Hayward. Fuck Hayward for lying about that.
Mm.
Oh.
She left without taking the corpse.
Well, and the one thing neat with the end of the episode is that because of one of the kids sensing that that Vision was in trouble, she uses her powers to not only stop the town for a moment, but to expand her hex bubble to encompass the sword tense to the point where, oops, Darcy accidentally gets sucked, and I hate that they actually had her almost say fuck, but then as she gets absorbed, it turns from fuck to fudge. I thought that was so clever of how they did that wordplay. It actually works.
I actually do kind of like that because like everything is all like everything is all like because in the Hex everything is all like sitcom-y and you can't swear in a sitcom, so it's like I actually do like how she begins to say fuck and then like as she goes in it kind of senses to being fudge. I think actually I never actually thought of that. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I thought it was neat. And then like
I also do like that there is a Halloween special because like you know, for two reasons. One, in sitcoms there usually are like specials in relation to like holidays like Christmas and Halloween and such. So I think that it was a really good way to like weave that in there. But also secondly, in universe, I think Endgame takes place in like early October of 2023. So, and this takes place like 3-4 weeks after Endgame. So it's literally like, you know, it's a Halloween special because also in universe, it's passing Halloween. So that's actually a thing pretty clever as well.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I almost forgot. Don't forget, we also learned about a very special episode where, just like in sitcoms, mainly like in the 80s and 90s, there would be a very special episode of a very deep topic, such as alcohol, with drunk driving, guns, or in this case, dog death.
Dog death. Yeah, it's a lot of meta stuff like that I really love that they added in there.
Like, like that was an actual
it's stuff
dog,
like that
and it died.
It's stuff like that that really makes me think that, you know, they love the sitcoms, and it does come across as parody a little bit, but it's a place of love. It's like an airplane. They play it straight.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
But I think going into the
final arc.
Yeah, the final act of the series with 7, 8, and 9, which I think were just terrific. You know, a lot of people had their disappointments going to this section, but I personally still love it. We'll go in the order that we have been going in. So Zen, what did you think?
Hold on, give me a minute. Sorry, I was just kissing Chiaki. She's on the back of my chair now.
All of the cats.
Hey Chiaki, you're gonna be joining us next time for Falcon.
I don't know. I'm pretty sus right now. Too busy. Bye. Yeah, she's on the back of my chair. Anyway, these last 3 episodes are wonderful. I think they did a great job of just bringing everything to a head. Everything we thought we knew, let's expand upon it. Let's get some answers. Honestly, one of my favorite episodes is when they go through all the backstory of Wanda.
Oh, the therapy episode.
That is my favorite.
The therapy episode was great, but I don't want to give any disservice because I think the episode where they do reveal that it was Agatha all along and they go down to the basement and they reveal the witch's runes and the hexes, and I'm like, that ending is possibly one of the best episode endings in the entire show. And it's not just the Agatha all along bit, because that's amazing too, but it's just the creepiness, the atmosphere, the way it just changes. It's like, I've never been under your spell, honey.
Oh yeah, not to mention, if you really pay attention to the scene, like, I watch it on my TV, and I like when the ratios change for the sitcoms. When you're actually paying attention to when Wanda goes into the basement, it actually changes ratios from TV to film.
Yeah.
And I love how they play with the ratio aspect with this, especially that scene alone. It's like we're going from the sitcom.
I do like that.
And then into the movie style, and I still think of the line Agatha says of, "You don't think you're the only magical girl, aren't you?" I hear that. I like that clip.
I do like the aspect ratio changes because, like, you know, it would be very easy to just hard cut to the different aspect ratio, which is lazy, and I don't like that. I remember, excuse me. I remember one of the Transformers movies, I think it was the 5th one, was on TV, and I haven't seen the 5th Transformers in its entirety yet, but I was watching it, and like, because it was on TV, and like they change aspect ratios like every fucking 5 seconds, and it's like, dude, like, why did you record on like completely different aspect ratios and just splice together the footage? It looks awful. It looks downright terrible. So I do like it when when you take the effort to like establish what parts of the show are supposed to be what aspect ratio and smoothly transition it to being one or the other.
Yeah, well, I think in that part it could have been like editing purposes, but for the reveal of Agatha, one, I kind of called it so far in advance, but when it did get revealed with Agatha, Catherine Hahn she is wonderful. It's like she takes whatever role and she slays it well. Like, she's so good to the point where she's gonna be in Knives Out 2. I am happy about that. I'm so happy. But for
okay, but yeah, I can't believe they just revealed who the villain of Knives Out 2 was going to be then. God damn it.
here's something. One thing someone pointed out is that Catherine Hahn has a way of being a secret villain. Like, first Agatha, but the other role that she voices Dr. Olivia Tavius / Doc Ock into the Spider-Verse, and I did not know that, and because like that was a fun little reveal that they never showed the trailers.
At this point,
my
I think
friends call me Liv.
Yeah, I think at this point it's going to be more of a shock. I think at this point it's going to be more of a twist if Catherine Hahn just ends up playing a good guy in something that she's in.
Well, given the fact that in this last arc, like, Wanda just is so powerful that she's able to completely take over Agatha into being the actual nosy neighbor completely, and because Wanda knows that she will need Agatha when the time comes for it, and we're all like, let Catherine Hahn be a Doctor Strange 2. Let her be a Doctor Strange 2. I really want to see her Doctor Strange 2.
Even past that, like, even if it's not Doctor Strange 2, I'm just glad they kept her, because now we're like building a rogues gallery, and I like that. Yeah. Like, you know, it happened also in Falcon and Winter Soldier, where they kept Zemo alive, and it's like, good, thank you. Like, keep your villains.
U.S. Agent.
U.S. Agent's not really like, well, okay, well, the way they treated him in the last episode of that series, he's not really. They didn't go the direction I thought they were going to go, where they made him a villain, but they actually made him more of a anti-hero.
Yeah, he still brutally murdered someone in cold blood. I don't like him.
He did. I hope they actually like still explore that. I hope they didn't just go, oh well, you know, he saved a couple of people on a bus and well, now he's just completely a good guy again, because he still has the bad trait. Like, even if he did learn that he's not the one who's supposed to be Captain America by the end of that series, at the very least they still showed that, like, you know, the parts about him that, like, you know, caused him to be like that caused him to like not be Captain America anymore are still like there. So, you know, I hope they do like add on to that, but we'll talk, you know, I'll discuss that more when we talk about Falcon next time.
Yeah. But to
my point.
Okay, sorry, you go ahead, finish.
Okay. I was just gonna say, like, I'm just glad that we're having, you know, more of a rogues gallery, as opposed to, like, you know, just killing the villains like when they first pop up or the second time they pop up. You know, I'm glad that we're actually like keeping our villains around, and people will go like, well, you know, if there's no death, then like, what's the stakes? You can create many stakes without death. Let me let you in on a writer's secret. You don't need to resort to death in order to create stakes. You know, become a better writer. Stop doing that shit.
Yeah, let me count the ways. But for these final three, it's my favorite arc, honestly, but also my favorite episodes. Like, I think the one that's basically a parody of like mockumentary sitcoms like The Office or Parks and Rec, like seeing like Wanda just breaking down like as though having like an actual like mental health day. I look at that and I'm like, why is that me? And
I just love how at that point, like, how she tries to play the bit and she's just like, you know what? Nah, I don't want to. I don't want to today. Yeah, I love that. I think it's at that point because that's the point where we're at with that. Because I know a lot of people are like, oh well, I really wish we had done more with the office type of sitcom setting. And I'm like, well, at this point, like, what's the point? Because it's like we're ramping up to like the story finally taking center stage, so there's not really any point to like go all the way with that, especially at this point where like Wanda is like mentally, just done with everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. These last this last group of episodes are the ones that I'm the most defensive about, especially when it comes to episode 8, because I really love episode 8. I think it's my favorite episode of the entire show. I love going through Wanda's life.
Yeah, I will say I love the part in the like Modern Family-esque episode where Vision's talking to the camera and he's like, "What am I even doing here?" And I was like, "That's what I wanted the whole freaking time." And also, I have saved on my phone of Vision just looking at the camera while he and Darcy in the car, and he's just full of sass. I'm like, I love that. And but for the
I love that entire thing. Like, what am I even doing talking to you? Like, what's going on here? And then the pan to the camera where Agatha was the cameraman.
Actually, the one thing neat is that Agatha was the director. If you actually looked at the clip of Wanda talking to the person off camera, and they actually took that sound and unscrambled it, it actually is Catherine Hahn disguised with the voice. And I thought that was actually very clever to do.
Nice.
And then, like, episode 8 is my favorite because not only do we finally get better backstory for Wanda, and also it retcons stuff from Age of freaking Ultron. Like, I am fine with that. I
don't think it's bad. I don't think it's that big of a retcon.
Well, not as much. Not as much as just more Petra's like, oh, we were just having dinner. In Wanda's point of view, no, they were about to sit down and watch sitcoms, and bam, bomb, and then learning that if it wasn't for the Mind Stone, because without the Mind Stone, Wanda had a little bit of potential to have magic, but because she was able to stop a missile, like a bomb, for like not blowing up for a couple days. And Agatha said if she never got in contact with the Mind Stone, her magic would have been gone. So
yeah,
if Wanda never took part in that experiment, she would not be the Scarlet Witch. Where I love that moment where she instantly gets her powers from the Mind Stone, seeing a vision of what she'll be. And I saw that vision. I'm like, oh, like, let me show more of the reveal. I need to see her costume. And then
her costume is one of the best. Her costume is one of the best in the MCU. Yeah,
it's so freaking cool. Like her it's finally an actual costume that not only a lot of people can wear. It does not have any cleavage because not all the women, female superhero costumes have to have cleavage, and it's also the one costume that Elizabeth Olsen feels happy with because she hated that for her costumes for Wanda, it was mostly all corsets and cleavage, and it felt so like uncomfortable for her. And especially because when I actually have tallied up what her actual age was for when she got snapped back, she would basically be about she'd be in her late 20s by the time when she returned from the snap. She's basically would be with her age, she's basically would have been the same age as my brother right now, but because of that, she's like in her late 20s max.
Yeah.
So I loved how well this explored her backstory, and also just I love that moment at the Avengers base with Wanda and Vision. Just that line of what is grief if not love persevering, like that scene made me cry. It was so
there's so many poignant scenes in this entire 3 episodes. This to me is why I really think that these final batch of episodes is probably the best part because they have the quiet moments and they talk like it's not just action. It's you have the ship of Theseus. You have him talking about like I was once an idea and I was once this and then a butler and I could continue on. Like there's so many really good passages for Vision, like the grief and the what is grief but love persevering. There's so much good backstory for Wanda, and I don't think it's much of a retcon because they could be misremembering it.
Yeah,
because it was years ago. It's a lot of this is repressed memories from people who went through a traumatic event, and so a lot could be finally revealed after these things happen. And I feel like this entire series is a lot about grief and trauma and overcoming it, what's healthy, what's not healthy, and trying to find a better way. And I love that they're dealing with it in a very interesting aspect. These final 3 episodes, there's so much.
Oh yeah.
There's so much to talk about. We already talked about a lot. I just want to say that I cried so many times.
Same.
I think it was a good conclusion.
Yeah.
I think that they did a great job wrapping and tying up all the loose ends.
Also, Hayward gets comeuppance.
Very fun.
Yeah, he does.
Fucking Hayward, man. Hayward.
Like Hayward's like, oh, we're making sure Vision's body's not a weapon. Takes parts of absorbs Wanda's hex magic from a little rocket, puts it into Vision's body, bam, to make him a fucking weapon against the Vision's will.
Can we get a government official who's not an asshole?
We'll get the fact that Hayward got arrested fucking right away, but where'd White Vision go? Where did the White Vision go? He went somewhere. He'll come back.
That's a loose end we're gonna have to tie up eventually.
Maybe he'll come back in Doctor Strange 2. We don't know. Or maybe Armor Wars. Who knows? But
I'm conflicted about it because, like, on the one hand, I feel like leaving him out for a little bit while he sorts things out will be good. I'm just wondering what he will turn out to be because we've seen what the Mind Stone memory of Vision is, and we've seen what just the body of Vision is, but neither of them are the real Vision. So yeah, I mean they're the ship of Xenius right there. I Vision ship. I don't know. I really hope that they do go the route of them combining back together, because as beautiful as this ending was, it was bittersweet. It was everything it needed to be, and it did a great job of being sad but hopeful. I want to see them reunited, and we know the kids are going to come back, but I want to see Vision again. Paul Bettany's so good. Paul Bettany's so good in this role.
And I don't know.
He always wanted to meet himself, and he got a chance to play both of himself.
Oh yeah, both Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen are great. Like, I'm gonna be honest, and this is someone who has watched a bunch of Olsen twin stuff growing up and had to review some of it. Elizabeth Olsen is the better Olsen sibling that can actually act.
Yeah, no, absolutely,
absolutely.
Well, keep in mind, if you watch my videos, she only made one appearance in the case of Thor Mansion, where both of her sisters literally made a song saying, "Hey, no, you're not coming out on our case. You get to see out of this. You're just annoying little kid sister." While their sister just pouts and is just so sad. I'm like, yeah, she doesn't need to come. You both are bitches.
Years later, you look back at these movies that I loved as a kid, and the actual like Olsen twin movies are not very good. And then
they're not.
Yeah,
have this.
Agreed. Yeah, no. Well, yeah, you have Olsen twin acting. Then you look at Elizabeth Olsen. Elizabeth Olsen does the best acting in episode 8 to the point where, like, I was crying so much throughout episode 8. especially when she goes to Westview and learned that Vision had bought a plot of land for them house after they were done being off the run, and showed the design and wrote "to grow old in," and I just broke down. And it's so heartbreaking, and that's why Wanda not only creates the sitcom fantasy, but also the Vision that we've been seeing has actually been a part of her Mind Stone powers. And it's just, it leads into episode 9, where I love we get part of Agatha backstory, where she was supposed to originally a good witch who accidentally studied from the Darkhold or dark magic and found a way to absorb witches' powers, and so we get a bunch of corpses. Yeah.
Yep.
And
yeah. I honestly, like, this final stretch of episodes, I know it gets some shit because, they didn't, do everything in the way I wanted it to, but, like, and also people thought that by the end it had gone to, like, it had, like, fallen back in the tropes of, like, the MCU, which I'm honestly fine with. Like,
I'm fine
a lot
with
of people
too.
are like, oh, you didn't need to end the show with, like, a magic battle in the sky, and I'm like, okay,
Fuck no,
yeah,
we needed that.
but, like,
we need magic battles in the sky.
yeah, but also it's cool, so why wouldn't you fucking end it like that? But also it's like, it makes sense for, like, everything that Agatha's been set up to one, and, like, and Wanda, like, learning, like of her power, like, it matches well because, like, this last battle in the series, acts to, like, show Wanda, finally getting a grasp on her power. So, like, I think it just makes the most sense to have a final battle there. It's,
especially because it's not really like a battle in the sense of, oh, she won because she's stronger. She's slowly getting a grasp of what she can and can't do. She finally has her cool outfit. And then she's like, okay, let's see, I can't attack her because then she'll just absorb my magic. I can't hit her with a car, but she's just gonna come back. So what do? I trick her.
Yep.
You have to outthink
it's a really good battle.
her.
Well,
I think it's a really good battle.
Not to mention making her giant dome into an anti-magic force field. That's like the best thing ever.
Like you told me about the one thing you told me about the runes. You shouldn't have done that.
And and I was in the basement
and
I memorized the runes, so I made them my own.
As for White Vision, I do think we should have gotten, like, one more scene with him.
Same.
Because I think he just kind of abruptly leaves, and then we don't see him again. And I'm like, that we could have just maybe seen, like, where he is, like a short 30-second clip of, like, where exactly he went.
Maybe somewhere during the end credits.
I don't mind them leaving it open as to, like, okay, well, where is White Vision? Like, what's he doing? Like, I don't mind them leaving that open. It's just, I'm also like, he kind of just abruptly, like, leaves after that scene, and I'm just like, you could have had, like, one more scene to kind of tie that up for this series specifically.
They also really did the same thing with Darcy. Like, she's just kind of not there.
I think,
at the very least, Darcy, like, got the moment of, like, getting to...
She took out Hayward.
Took out Hayward. And also, I think that maybe could have been a COVID thing.
Yeah,
so,
I feel like that was a COVID thing of Darcy not wanting to be, like, in the press and stuff, or government stuff, because, like, it does make sense with her with the other government, because she's dealt with them in the 2-4 film, so it makes kind of sense with her character a bit. But also, yes, it also probably could be COVID stuff, because, like...
Yeah. Because also you don't see Darcy, like, out of the car in the last episode, so it could very well be that, like, they recorded that, like, via green screen or whatever, and yeah.
But also,
it's understandable. I don't think it ruins the series. I think it's still fantastic, and I think that there's going to be room for more stuff later.
Mm-hmm.
Now that I'm fully vaccinated as of next Wednesday. Because I got my second shot.
Yeah, I've been fully vaccinated since April. So that's been fun. But I think the one thing neat also is Monica gets her powers because of the Hex Dome, and I think that is incredible, especially her going...
I can't wait to see more of her in the Marvels. I think that
Yeah.
she is this series' breakout star, and I think that, like, you know, going forward, she can be, like, an amazingly, like, you know, just big player in the MCU that, like, no one was expecting. I think that this series, like, showed that she does have the, she has the chops to, like, be, like, a top tier Avenger. I think that if they're gonna go with the idea of, like, having, like, an adult Avengers group and then the young Avengers group, she'd make, like, a really good, like, lead character in an adult Avengers team.
Okay, hear me out. What if they're actually foreshadowing West Coast Avengers?
Maybe. I feel like it would just make more sense to have a new Avengers team.
Yeah, well...
I just really like that they finally acknowledge her, like, Hex power. She's finally is the Scarlet Witch. They're really, like, playing into the strengths, and Elizabeth Olsen's finally getting the chance to shine, finally giving backstory. You know, I like a lot of the MCU, but it took us this long to get backstory on them. Aside from the
because unfortunately it's just the thing of, like, you can only do so many movies per year, and you gotta, like, pick your poison like just right. And it's like, when it comes to characters like Falcon and Scarlet Witch and, you know, all these other characters, it's like, you know, the thing about them is that, you know, they work well as supporting characters, but, you know, it's always nice to have more on them. Like, I don't mind Falcon up until now being a supporting character, but it is always welcomed to get, like, you know, more backstory on him and more, like, developments.
Oh, yeah.
See, here's the thing. Falcon and the Winter Soldier made me like Falcon and Bucky more than any other of the films combined. Well,
Same.
Except for maybe Captain America, the first Avenger, but that was Bucky before he became the Winter Soldier, so he had personality there.
And also, I think Bucky in that movie was heavily underutilized, if I'm going to be honest. I think he should have stayed alive until, like, the end of the movie.
Yeah. Also, I kind of liked Falcon when he appeared in Winter Soldier, but that's me. Though I feel...
Falcon was good in Ant-Man too.
Yeah.
Okay.
and
You're
also-
not telling Cap that this happened.
Lol.
Yeah. Though, of course, I love how Disney Plus is handling expanding on these with supporting characters to have their own standalone series to not only expand their stories but also to add more from the comics into this that could later be put into the movies themselves. It's why we're going to be getting a Captain America 4 that will be having Sam Wilson as Captain America, and
Yeah,
that's
it's great.
going to be amazing. And then, of course, with Scarlet Witch, she's going to be appearing in her own self as herself in Doctor Strange Multi-Universe of Madness, and, like, there's, like, so much
Multiverse, not multi-universe. That's like the third time you've said multi-universe. It's multiverse.
I am tired.
In the
Leave me
Multiverse
alone.
of Madness. And
I-
we're gonna have
I'm
Doc Ock is
tired.
gonna be there, and we're gonna have a Kingpin, and we're gonna have Catherine, and we're
I'm
gonna
still. Okay, now Zen. Now you're the one who's making all the
Yeah.
theories. Calm
Yeah.
yourself.
Yeah.
But also, I'm also
just
kind of.
saying that they're going to bring in the entire Spider-Man universe that came from those 3 films.
I'm
and
kind
they're
of.
going to continue
I'm
it.
kind of conflicted when it comes to Doc Ock coming back for No Way Home, given what we've heard from it. But we'll just have to see how they handle that. I'm not going to comment more on that until we actually get a trailer at the very least.
Well, I mean, the whole point of the film, because they say there's no way home, all these people from the other universes, from Amazing and from the regular Spider-Man universe, come here because there's no way home.
No.
I don't know.
What?
I'll like, no. My big thing is that, like, you know, Octavius' story ended very well with Spider-Man 2, and, like, him not becoming the monster that, you know, that like he feared he would become, like that the arms were, like, turning him into. And his sacrifice at the end of that movie was amazing. And the fact that you would just bring him back as a villain for, like, No Way Home. Granted, if he's not a villain and they handle him with respect. And I don't know, I still don't know about, like, you know, it being the same Doc Ock, you know, from the Raimi movies, but again, I'm not commenting on this until we actually get a trailer, because there's so many ways they could screw this up, but so many ways that they could also make it work.
Well, we'll really have to see, because I'm really intrigued to see Alfred Molina again. But you're right, Spider-Man 2 is a near perfect film. You know, say what you will about Raimi's tropes, Spider-Man 2 is the best of what Raimi can do, and it did a lot great. Did a lot great for Doc Ock.
I love Raimi's tropes, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I think they ended his character well. However, if they give a new life to the character, make him remorseful, make him not being controlled by his arms, maybe he's helping this Spider-Man. You know, they could go a different direction. I don't know. This is speculation.
It's all speculation. If you're gonna bring Alfred Molina back, I would rather they do like an Elseworld Doc Ock and just have this be like a Doc Ock from like a different universe that's not the Raimi universe. But like, that's just me. If you're gonna have it be the Raimi Doc Ock, then like, there's ways you can make it work. Just don't make him a villain. That's my only thing. Just don't make him a villain.
It's really tough, because after Spider-Man 2 and after the Marvel Spider-Man game, where they did 2 perfect adaptations of Doc Ock, let's be honest here, those are the top adaptations.
Yeah.
Aside from maybe Into the Spider-Verse, but that wasn't really Doc Ock. That was Liv. But
different character.
Like, after those 2, I'm curious where you bring the character.
Mm-hmm.
But for WandaVision though.
Back to WandaVision, not Spider-Man.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Now there be pictures of Spider-Man. God damn it!
But for
I do want to mention, like, just to cap off the Act 3 discussion, because I noticed I haven't really given my like entire thoughts on it. I will say I do like the way the series ends, because I feel like it's a good way to tie it into Doctor Strange 2 without having it be like, without ending it on like, okay, this, like, Doctor Strange 2 is a necessity for what happens next. You can just end off here and you'll be fine, as long as you don't watch the post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Well, they were gonna have Doctor Strange be at the end of the series, but then they took it out because they took him out because they didn't want it to detract from Wanda's story, which I think was a good decision.
But I think it makes more sense of him maybe, because like I already knew Doctor Strange was trying to contact Wanda in the Modern Family as opening credits, so it's like that could be the tiny little cameo for him trying to reach out and her not realizing it because she's not getting his signal. It could be too weak, because that scene of Wanda being awake while her astral self is studying the Darkhold shows that, as Agatha said, the Scarlet Witch, it could be more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. We're going to be seeing another magic fight, and I cannot fucking wait. I love my magic fights.
I really hope that not only that do they do everything trippy like the first Doctor Strange, which has some of the best fights and cinematography in the series, but it'll be interesting to see the difference in powers. And they mention you've unleashed something you know nothing of, so there's got to be something stronger. I mean, we know about Dormammu and us coming to bargain, but I don't know.
Well, there is actually, like, it's not Mephisto. I can't remember from the comics. There is like another like magical being. I just can't remember the name of it from the comics. That could be that as a big bad for like the Doctor Strange sequel. But
I mean, Doctor Strange deals with like Galactus and like
I love because of the whole multiverse thing, that everyone should just forgetting that, oh yeah, Mordo was a villain that was established with the post-credit scene of Doctor Strange 1, so it's just gonna be Mordo.
Well, he is supposed to be in the Doctor Strange 2, so
he'll
oh dear God, can you imagine if he wasn't like zapped in the time skip and he just got stronger? Oh shit. I think that's what's going to happen.
It's hard to say because what if they plan Mordo for like a third film? Like build him
Maybe.
up? Because we don't know. Like Doctor Strange has a huge rogues gallery, and Doctor Strange has dealt with a lot of different things. The Silver Surfer, Galactus. He's dealt with cosmic threats, but you never know. Maybe he's sent in to deal with Reed Richards because he's forming the Illuminati again.
I don't know, but I cannot wait for what's in store for Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch for the future of Phase 4 of Marvel.
Hannah, can you stop zooming around, please?
Never! But I'm very excited to see more of it. And people are like, oh, is there going to be a season 2 of WandaVision? I'm like, I don't want a season 2. I'd rather have a spin-off of Scarlet Witch. That would be actually much better.
Yeah, just have like a Scarlet Witch show or a movie, you know?
Yeah, I really hope Elizabeth Olsen
I would
gets
like
her
a
movie.
season 2 of Falcon, but not a Scarlet Witch.
I think there will be a second season of Falcon.
No, there's not going to be a second season of There's not going to be a second season of Falcon. They're transitioning Sam into the movies now. They're making a Captain America 4.
Yeah, which makes more sense. But I cannot wait.
Meanwhile, in the background, we have Kana with a bushy tail running around. Kana, why are you doing all this?
Because I can, Mommy. Because I can.
Because she can,
You knocked
and
over
she
my
will.
soda the other day, and I'm very mad about it, Kana.
Sodas are evil.
With that being said, that's the entire story, just basically like given. That's basically just our thoughts on the entire story right there. Are there any like characters or bits you want to talk about before we go into final thoughts? Actually, I'll start with that actually because I said I was going to talk about Hayward before. A lot of people don't like that Hayward was kind of like two-dimensional, and I'll agree that there's not much to him. You know, it's just government arsehole. It's basically just what if Thunderbolt Ross was a villain, and Thunderbolt Ross is already like giant fucking Republican arsehole. But it's like, you know, it's. I think he serves his purpose well as a plot device. I feel like given the fact that you already have other villains to like, primarily Agatha, to like really focus on in terms of the plot stuff, I feel like Hayward exists there to like serve his purpose and like add to the story. He doesn't need to be like the most deep character of them all, so that's why I'm completely fine with that personally.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Not to mention with Hayward, he, it's like, oh, you can't have Vision's body. He's basically, you might accidentally turn him into a weapon. So, I'm gonna accidentally turn him into a weapon, even though Vision did not want that in his will. And it's like, the government can do whatever the hell they want, even though Vision was technically an actual person with his own soul. And it's just, and again, the fact that Hayward didn't mind killing 2 kids. It's like,
Yeah.
what the hell? Like, especially in the fact that, like, he was willing to have Monica and Jimmy and Darcy, like, arrested because he's like, okay, we have no use for you. You're gonna leave now. Even though, but also get the fact he was also, like, trying to make her a terrorist. Even, even Jimmy, like, Monica saying she's not a terrorist, but also he's bringing up all the bad stuff that she did, even though some of it was accidents, like Largos was a big accident there, but it goes without saying that, like, Hayward is basically the government asshole, and yes, I'm glad he got his comeuppance, and yeah, I know he could be, I can see why you mean he could be two-dimensional, but...
I also like to point out that we find out in this series that the Sokovia Accords are still very much in effect,
which
I know
so
a lot.
bullshit.
No. I will say this because a lot of people's reaction to that was, why are the Sokovia Accords like still in effect? Like, why? Why would you still have those in effect? I think that this offers a very good counter to Team Cap from Civil War, because here's my thing with Civil War, because I know a lot, because I was discussing this once with Seraphim. Hey Seraphim, mentioning you again. So, and how he said that he thought that Cap's side was like just the one in the right in Civil War and how his side was the right one. And I countered with, well, no, neither side was really right, because for as much as you can, criticize the Sokovia Accords, the Accords in themselves inherently are not a bad system to put in place. The biggest problem I found with them was that they, could be, like, given the wrong, it's exactly the point that Cap brought up of how, governments are, run by people with agendas, and agendas change. And so when you have the wrong people in charge, it can lead to fucking boneheaded decisions being made. And what I find interesting with the MCU is how we've kind of dealt with this whole Sokovia Accords thing post-Civil War. Like, everything we've seen up until now has been like, kind of leaning in the direction of, oh, well, Cap was right, because, by the time Infinity War rolls around, everyone's basically on Cap's side again and being like, hey, fuck you, Ross. But then again, that was during a time of, like, when there was a fucking alien invasion. So, like, who honestly cares about what the government says at that point? Whereas I found that, with both this series and mostly with Falcon and with the Winter Soldier, the Sokovia Accords are still in effect, and yet they haven't really posed an issue. And I feel like it's that in of itself kind of acts as a good counter to where, yes, when the government figures themselves are, like, fucking assholes and corrupt, then the Accords themselves can be twisted, like, a great deal. But at the very least, when the government figures themselves aren't, two-dimensional, like, evil for the sake of being evil, then it really doesn't, impact superheroes, all that much. Because Falcon and Bucky were able to, like, go about their business in that series without much, interference because of the Accords. Which I thought, so I think that, like, and this is something that I would like to see explored a little bit more, because I want more clarification on it, but it would seem like the Accords have at the very least been, like, if not tweaked, then, like, they've at least gone over them a bit to make sure that, like, okay, we have better, like, regulations on, like, what the Accords allow you to do or not. So it just kind of adds emphasis to the fact the Accords themselves were not a bad idea. It's just they had a lot of bad elements about them, and and just in general, I don't like the mentality that, like, oh, well, one side or the other was clearly in the right in Civil War. Because I feel like what made Civil War such a good movie was that both sides had their positives and negatives, because, that's
both
what
sides
a
were
Civil War
right, both sides were wrong in certain ways. And I think it's shown in both this and Falcon that they still have to operate within their own means. Like, they have to get local people. Falcon can't cross a border. They don't want to start an international incident. And Wanda's in trouble for stealing a town. There's big things that they can't do. And
consequences,
so, like,
essentially.
And that's the thing, like, the Sokovia Accords aren't bad because superheroes do need to be put in check. But we need freedoms. We need to not have everyone being restricted under government control because there's Haywards out there. So, a little compromise, a little give and take. I think the big breaking point and the big change were the 5 years where half the world was just gone. And those 5 years they had to rebuild, and they probably redid the Sokovia Accords to allow for them to help everyone.
Yeah. I'm very much of, like, of Nat's mentality from Civil War, where, like, the Avengers, I think, should be allowed to have, like, one hand on the wheel. And Nat only, left and broke the Accords, broke her deal with the Accords when she saw that, because of the management at the time, that were controlling that were having, authority over the Avengers, were not being sound of mind. Like, they were not sound of mind, and, like, that they were, that they were just being, like, assholes, because, of course, the person in charge at the time was fucking Thunderbolt Ross. So at the very least, it seems like there's a better the Sokovia Accords at least now seem like they're, like, handled way better than they initially were, which is good.
Let me sum up the government in a single thing. Keep firing, assholes. I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.
I got that.
But yeah, just trying to think what else we could really talk about, because there's a lot of things, but like at the same time, you know, like I said before, this isn't gonna be like we touch upon like literally everything. This is the whole point of these series reviews are kind of gonna give like a summation of our thoughts on each series, and then if you want to hear like more specific points, you can go to like whatever episode it is. Where we would likely talk about it for like in regards to a specific plot point for an episode.
I mean, we talked a lot about a lot of different things, so I think
yeah,
I think we're okay.
I'm ready for final thoughts if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready for them. I'm honestly ready for them too. I was gonna have like a separate character section, but I honestly think we touched upon like everyone's like character already.
Yeah.
Like,
also, Wanda's Vision's kids are good kids. They're good boys.
They are. I can't wait to see them most likely aged up again. Come when they finally come back. Because again, there's no way that they're staying dead. Because now we literally have, you know, Wanda's kids. We have. I know they're not. I know they're not technically. I know they're not technically Young Avengers. They're champions. But we also have Miss Marvel and Riri. Getting introduced, who they could also be like weaved into being Young Avengers as opposed to champions. We could have
Isaiah was shown in Falcon and Winter Soldier.
We have fucking Patriot who was in Falcon Winter Soldier.
There's a big hint of young Loki possibly in Loki.
We're getting both Kate Bishop in Hawkeye and also America Chavez from in Doctor Strange 2.
And don't forget Cassie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're also getting Cassie with Quantumania and how she'll probably be becoming Stature. I also feel like there's a really good chance that we could be getting Hulkling with the Secret Invasion storyline. Or the Secret Invasion show. So yeah, Young Avengers is shaping up well. Young Avengers is looking to be shaped up really well.
Yeah, but overall with WandaVision, I think this is going to be a series I'm going to be so happy to rewatch over and over again. I loved it so much that I'm waiting on merch I bought from a small artist shop where she did a bunch of WandaVision stuff, and I'm just waiting for it to come in the mail. Because it has like, I bought a lot of stuff to treat myself. It's all so cute and I love it. And it's support your small artist, please.
Yep. Yep. Can't agree with that more.
Yeah. Like, and also, I love Scarlet Witch, and I cannot believe this series made me relate to her more on a personal level than before.
Yeah, Wanda before this series was one of my favorite characters in the MCU, and now she has absolutely, like, you know, it's elevated even further than I already than what I already thought of her. So. Yeah, it's great. It's honestly really, really fucking good. I love this series. I think that it was paced really well. I feel like which was a concern, like one of the only concerns I actually had going into it. I think the sitcom stuff worked fantastically. Vision's character was handled well for a dead man. You know, the red herrings were great. Fucking, it's one of my new favorite MCU things. I honestly am struggling to think. Like, I constantly flip back and forth between whether I like it or Falcon and Winter Soldier more. I think I'm at the point where I kind of like Falcon a little tiny bit more, which is funny because Wanda's like one of my favorite characters. But even still, they're like possibly in my top 5. I love both, and WandaVision itself is just fantastic. I love it.
I like both though too.
I really enjoy this series. I unfortunately have not rewatched the series recently. I haven't had any time. Because every weekend I have to record something new. Last weekend was Dub Talk. I've streams with Lewis every Saturday, and then
damn you, Lou.
I have other stuff. But you should totally watch the streams with Lewis because we started Old World Blues in Fallout 3, and God, that stream. I was dying laughing. It's a highlight of Fallout New Vegas. He's playing this is the Old World Blues, and when we started talking about dick fingers and
What?
dick toes.
What?
It's part of the DLC for New Vegas.
Oh, dear God.
I was dying laughing the entire time. I was like, this is the highlight of my week, so I'm happy.
Wow.
But also, we have a lot of stuff that I have to do for Dub Talk. I have a lot of stuff that I have to do for my show that I'm very behind on, and I apologize. But
We're getting things back on
I
track,
haven't-
everyone.
Yeah.
I have a lot to catch up with, so I haven't had time to rewatch this show. But I love it.
Yeah.
I think it's one of those great shows that it builds its mystery, and even knowing the mystery, I think it'll be fun to go back and watch and see it again, because it's a show that really works on its own. It's telling a story, and I love these characters. I love the ideas that they set forth, and the last 3 episodes are brilliant. I cried. I'm looking forward to more with these characters. This is what I want. I liked Phase 3 a lot. Phase 3 was fantastic, and I think it was better than Phase 1 and more consistent than Phase 2 was. But Phase 4 is so far outdoing it, in my opinion. I love it.
I feel
Let's
like
see what Loki has to bring.
if
But
it keeps
WandaVision and Falcon are great.
if it keeps at this pace, then Phase 4 will definitely become my new favorite as well, because that's
Same.
that's 2 for 2 of like just shows I absolutely adore. I honestly don't know if Loki will even reach that level, but like I love
Well, we
these
said
two
that
shows.
about Falcon too. It's like, yeah, Falcon's
Yeah,
gonna
we
be more
did. We
straightforward.
did. That's
We
very
said
true.
about Falcon, and we're like, oh, well, it's going to be more straightforward than WandaVision. It's probably just not going to be that big action set pieces. No, damn, I cried. Like, damn, son, that was...
Foreshadowing.
Falcon is a mood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's that show. I was not expecting to fall in love with that show as much as I did. Like from episode 1, I was like, hot damn. Hot damn.
No, but
And just an update on Loki. Just an update on Loki while we're at it. The current plan is the Falcon and the Winter Soldier review. We're actually recording both this and the Falcon review like very close to one another, but I'm gonna wait a good number of days, possibly a week, to actually release that. Both because I have assessments to finish up, because my final week is of the semester. And also because I just want to give this and the Falcon review a little time in between, just to give people time to watch both. For Loki, because the show is now moving to Wednesdays as opposed to Fridays, hopefully because of that, it'll hopefully mean that me and Zen are able to get those out for the weekends, whereas before we record at like the very end of the weekend, and then I release them during the next week. Whereas because Loki's now releasing on Wednesdays, I'm looking for a weekend release for those, but we're just gonna have to see. It'll help that definitely that it'll just be me and Zen for Loki. I don't think we're gonna be bringing on anyone for those episodes.
The good thing is that my new job, yes, I have a new job. That's part of the everything going on. My new job is in the mornings now, so I can actually see the episodes when they come out.
Yeah, when they
Not
come
the
out.
concept. And not like the morning afterwards.
Yep. That's great. It's honestly like I'm glad we're back. We're getting back on track of everything. And the Danganronpa 1 review, I know we've made you guys wait for so long. Can you believe we were originally going to release that review back in December?
yes.
Well,
Like-
I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry that
It's not your
things
fault.
are...
No, it happens.
Yeah, it's not. It's absolutely not your fault for this. It's like so much has happened, and
It's
yeah,
been a lot. I mean, changing jobs, the stuff with the computer, and I have a job now. Give me a month, I'll be set in. I'm recording and scripting, and we're getting stuff set up. I'm also starting a new series. We have a lot on the back burner, and I'm trying to get season 2 of the show up and running so that season 3 is not a break in between. It's just it was the after effects of the human malware. It just hit all at once, and
I didn't even know we were.
apologize.
I didn't even know we were referring to this as season 2.
I'm just saying season 2 as we had a break, you know?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But just know recording is starting like with sometime within the next week, and we are hoping to have that review out. I want to say by the end of June, maybe like possibly July, but hopefully with all luck by the end of June. And then from there, we'll just be getting everything out hopefully consistently, and should be good. Should be good.
I have a long weekend this week. I'm going to start recording Danganronpa. I'm scripting this new show. You may have heard about it on Twitter. If you haven't, I'm calling it Midnight Combo Pack. I'm not going to reveal too much about it, but it's about 2 games, and it's going to be great. And so there's that to look forward to. I have the second script about halfway done. We're going to get the second half of, we're going to get the first half finished tomorrow, and we're going to get the Buggy arc scripted and ready to go. There's a lot that we're doing, a lot in the works. I'm catching up. This Bun Squad train is a-rolling. Finally.
Finally. But with that being said, that's what were you gonna say, Casey?
I was gonna say thank you both for having me join for this one again.
Yeah, it's always great to have you on board,
Thank you for coming
Casey.
on, Kana. It's good to have you on board.
It was good to have you. It's always great to have you on board, Casey. It's thanks for coming on board to talk about WandaVision, because I was like, you know what, we're gonna be doing Falcon with Michelle, because she was with me across that entire show. So you know what, let's bring you in for WandaVision.
Oh yeah, I appreciate it, especially with my busy schedule of everything. Yay!
Yeah. But with that being said, thank you all for watching this video. Next up is the Falcon series review, and then after that will be Loki, which should be fun. That should be very, very fun.
And we'll be caught up with Phasing Forward. We'll be caught up with other stuff. Yay, catch up, woo! And then I don't like mustard, so catch up, all catch up.
Yeah, cats up. Ketchup, cats up.
No. I'm ending this now. I'm ending this now
I'm
before
Zenith
more
Warrior
puns.
Princess. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
And my name is Philip, and me and Zen will catch you all in the next episode. And of course, Casey, you're always welcome to come back when the schedule calls for it. But yeah. With all that being said, have a good one, everybody. Bye bye.